Hello, my name is Sarah Loveland, and I am doing this digital storytelling tracker called My Future and My Knowledge for my Intro to Peace and Justice class at Regis University, fall of 2025. This is going to reflect the knowledge that I learned in class, specifically about gun violence, the Second Amendment, and how I proceed to integrate what I learned into my daily life, career, and how I handle myself in the world. In 2020, the film If Anything Happens, I Love You was released on Netflix. It is a story about the aftermath and tragedy of a school shooting that follows how it affects those left behind, such as parents or people close to us. It was made to honor the families of gun violence and explore the grief and trauma of horrific events. At this time, I was too young to have a strong opinion about guns. Other than knowing violence existed, there was little to nothing I knew about them. As I watched the film at the age of 13, I was horrified and distraught by the reality of gun violence. It helped shape my very strong opinion. I remember crying because it captures such an abstract loss that no one should experience, losing a child to gun violence. At the time, my view on guns was that they were bad because I thought they caused violence. After all, in 2024, had 2,500 children ages 1 to 17 not been killed by guns, making it the leading cause of death for American youth, their parents would not be grieving. I had felt that no one should have a gun. As I later learned, I slowly took on one perspective of the Second Amendment where guns should only be in the militia or military. I was fortunate enough to grow up in an affluent area with many opportunities thanks to my parents. My neighborhood was predominantly white and safe with low crime, and I attended a private Catholic school until high school. This environment allowed me to continue holding the strong belief about guns for majority, if not all, of my life until I came to college, where my view was expanded thanks to my Intro to Peace and Justice class. In this class, we learned about the Second Amendment, the National Rifle Association, whose mission is preserving the core of our American values and traditions in our steadfast efforts to teach freedom, political ideology, and gun violence within racial structures, such as the purpose of the Second Amendment being written to keep guns out of the hands of Black citizens. Although my mindset about guns and why there is gun violence has changed, the first two words in the definition of a gun is, quote, a weapon. 45,000 Americans die from gun violence annually. 32% of Americans own a gun, and there are 393 million guns in America. We must face these facts. Blindly putting aside that people have weapons in their possession often, if not always, undermines the legitimacy of why people carry guns and the impact it has on innocent people's lives. After reading and analytically questioning Jennifer Carlson's book, Citizen Protectors, where she offered a nonpartisan way of thinking about and living the gun culture while forming an answer as to why people use guns, she expanded my understanding and helped form my educated view. Carlson's book profiles real people who own guns for various reasons. The biggest and most common reason I read about was self-protection. Personal accounts tell stories of victims of gun violence nearly being beat to death and fearing for their lives because of their living environments or work circumstances. We read about Corey, who was almost robbed at gunpoint, but shot and killed the 19-year-old in self-defense. He was praised a hero. I understand some people live in dangerous and violent neighborhoods due to government, political, and wealth structures, with failure to provide services such as housing or food, which leads people to commit crime out of necessity. I'm empathetic towards this because I understand that people live in less fortunate situations than I do that may experience food insecurity, violence, abuse, homelessness, or drugs. If someone is just trying to get through their everyday life, hold down a stable job, go to school, take care of their family amidst threats to their safety, being and feeling protected may be the most important priority. As the Second Amendment states, quote, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, end quote. People are split on whether owning a gun should depend on being in the military or if you are a citizen, therefore you have the right to own a gun. Understanding this will help me in my career and being more aware in my personal life. Acknowledging this perspective, I realize why the Second Amendment is so often disputed. The country we live in is split on opinions. I learned 81% of Republicans think gun ownership increases safety, and 71% of Democrats think it decreases safety. But the way to understand others' views is by listening, sympathizing, and compromising. Working towards my goal of being an FBI agent, I can use this new perspective to better understand my position as a federal agent. I'll be working within constitutional law every day, and firearms may be involved more in my life than I could have expected. I do not want to hold a belief that would make me incapable of doing my job efficiently or productively. especially if that makes me a safer and more prepared agent in the field and in social interactions. Even now, with society continually evolving, the desire to own a gun for many more Americans is rising, including mine. We must continue to educate ourselves on gun laws and be more aware of the world we are living in. Although gun violence can be prevented through the policies, laws, and culture that we instill, as American citizens, we must be on the same page to work towards a more peaceful country with no gun violence, no matter our political differences. Thank you.